So there are 5 hidden obstacles for businesses that are coming to Canada. It takes some time to see that things are not working, and people usually don't understand why. This results on a lot of lost time and especially a lot of money that also is invested without results. So we're gonna talk about these 5 hidden reasons here today. There's a link in the description of this video. Here at Lucalex, we help businesses of different sizes at different stages in this journey to success in Canada. But let's go to it. Point number 1, first reason. Typically, businesses that are coming to Canada, they have a partial view of reality. And somebody described to me in a very interesting way. They said, it's like when you're sitting at the airplane and you have a view by the window. And that's great, you have a beautiful view and whatnot. But remember, you only have a limited field of vision. There's all sorts of things happening all around the airplane, the other side, back, in the front, that you cannot see from that window. And that's typically very true of a business that's coming to Canada. That applies too, because when you're coming to Canada, you're coming with that vision that you have from back home. And you may be missing both opportunities and risks that may be on the other side. So you don't know what you don't know. That's how we say here in Canada. Okay? And that causes typically 2 types of behavior that will not be helpful. For example, how do you conduct yourself in your relationships and your negotiations? Sometimes you may be too cautious, or sometimes you may be too aggressive. So it's important to calibrate the right tone. And this goes for all sorts of relationships. Could be relationships with clients, with your staff, your employees, with your suppliers, with business partners, with distributors, with the representatives, salespeople, and all that. Point number 2, business culture more specifically. So, for example, what's the relationship etiquette when you're meeting with somebody and you're trying to describe to them why your product or service may be a good fit? When you should be explaining more and what type of explanation you should be focusing on versus when the other side already understood, you should stop explaining and let them ask more questions. And what are the different ways to get to a proposal stage? These nuances, unwritten rules, they can cause a very serious and clear erosion of confidence. If there's a little bit, something a little off, you don't know exactly why, but you're not feeling 100% comfortable with that situation, you may not decide to do business with that person or with that company. The third one is a lack of local references. That's very easy to understand, right? I mean, have to be careful here, but everybody knows, oh, I need to hire a local person that has network, it can open doors for me. That alone doesn't solve any problem, because this is what happens. We have to be very careful when coming to Canada. That's true globally, but coming to Canada, in our experience here, have to be very careful, because we tend to emphasize a lot our track record and past successes, but in a way that what we're actually doing is we're emphasizing the unknown nature of what we do. What do I mean by that? It's like if I'm throwing around big local names from my country of origin and say, yeah, we dealt with the biggest manufacturer, the biggest retailer, the biggest financial companies and all that, and we start to throw those names, instead of impressing people with our capabilities and the caliber of clients that we have, that's not the first thing they're gonna think. The first thing they're gonna think here is like, okay, but your experience is in a different environment. Things are different here. So we don't want to overemphasize the fact that we are just arriving and that we don't have the experience in the Canadian environment. And by emphasizing and giving big names and big references, and even having a phone number with the country code of origin, or the list names of cities where we do business that are very different from their reality here, all this effort may backfire. So it's not only having a lack of local references, it's backfiring the effort in terms of trying to establish a reputation by using references that are unknown to them. The fourth one seems to be a very straightforward too, but again, there's nuances. competitiveness. Many countries, we are competitive because we are well known, we have a great brand, we have the great relationships, the best companies in the country are our clients, we have great people that went to brand name universities and all that. Here, as we discuss in other videos, in Canada, it's more about your niche expertise. What can you do to solve specific problems that nobody else solves equally well as you? So it's not just the relationships, you also need to show that you have your niche expertise, right? And here's a few things that it's useful to remember. In Canada, you're gonna face global competitors. So people that are here, remember, city of Toronto, 52% of the population was born outside Canada. That means everybody here has a cousin or a relative or a friend who owns a very successful and competent business, perhaps in a lower cost jurisdiction, that can be offering in this market the same things that your company may be offering. So you're not only competing with the locally grown Canadian companies here, you're dealing with people coming from everywhere. So you have global competitors in Canada. You also need to be paying attention that in Canada, people take more seriously in terms of feeling comfortable with doing business with you when you are a niche specialist, right? And that's counterintuitive to a lot of people. Say, well, but why would I only say I'm good at one thing if I'm good at 5 things? Because people find it hard to believe you. It plays against your reputation in Canada to say that you're good at too many things. People are not gonna tend to believe you. They're gonna think, well, nobody can really be that good at that many things. So it's important to understand that you're playing in a niche specialist market. And the other thing it's important to understand to be competitive is people are going to have very little time to talk to you and to learn why your company is good and all that. Nobody's going to go through lengthy presentations. Don't send a PowerPoint with 18 charts. People don't have time for that. They're not going to spend time browsing your website. Typically, people in Canada, because it's a society where few people have any type of help at home, people have to end their work day relatively early because then they go home and do a lot more work. They have to cook dinner, they have to take kids to hockey or soccer, they have to mow the lawn, they have to do grocery shopping, they have to take the dog for a dog walk and all that. So all that means that people don't have help at home. So they need to get home and they have a lot of work to do on the personal side of their life. That means during the day, their time is very precious. They're not going to allocate 2 hours for a meeting. In most cases, not even 1 hour. They want to be very careful in terms of how they allocate 30 minutes of their time to talk to you. And before they make that decision, they need to see very quickly why they should talk to you. Canadians do not respond well to that idea, well, let's have a conversation so I learn more about your problems and then we'll see if there is a fit. People are like, okay, buddy, figure out what you can tell me that solves my life here, do some research about me, and then reconnect with me. So that's a very important thing. That's how competitive things are. You need to do more research about the people you're gonna talk to, okay? And remember, it's talking to people that's gonna make a difference for you. Yes, you can get good information online, especially now with ChatGPT and all these other AI tools, but it also can give you very wrong information. So remember, it's important to actually speak to people, talk to people, ask for their time to learn, not to make a sales pitch. Because online, by any electronic means, you're gonna have a very partial type of information that may not be terribly useful for you on the competitive front, okay? Number 5, don't underestimate distractions. Remember, a business is not just a business. Somebody is gonna be here. So if you are coming or one of your coworkers, you're sending an employee, remember that it takes time and energy to fully integrate in Canada. And you're gonna have things on the personal side. You need to get the driver's license, the kids to school, understand how the healthcare system works, find a place to live. All these are distractions that take off the focus from your business activities, right? And remember, it's very different to try to do business in a place where you don't have a good network of people that already know you, right? When you are already well known, when your family name means something, or when the name of your company already means something, or your client list means a lot, it's always easier. People will listen to you with more attention. They will allocate time to talk to you. You're coming to a place where you don't have that network, people don't know who you are, they don't recognize the names of your clients. This can all be challenging, right? And here's a caution I have. You will hear stories of success. You will see cases where, well, but that's not really true. I know this company that they had this former employee who moved to Canada and they told their colleagues internally, and then suddenly this company from my home country now it's selling a lot to Canadians because of it. Yes, that happens. And sometimes even you get a little luckier when you land here and there is like that window of opportunity where you got your first local client and all that. But if you don't align these other things that we have been discussing frequently here in this channel, you run the risk of being a beginner's luck case. You don't want to just have beginner's luck. You want to have sustainable business growth in Canada. Yes, anybody can hit a beginner's luck. If I go play golf, sometimes, you know, like when first time I went to play, I actually hit a few nice balls, and then I need to get humble pretty quickly because I said that was not sustainable. Yeah, this one time it happened, this one time, but then do that again and again and again and get results. That requires a little more planning, a little more understanding, a little more integration in the local business environment. Okay, so click here on the link of the description to learn more about how we can help. Welcome to Canada.